I just asked myself, like, well, what will I regret having or not having done by the end of my life? And I was like, well, I've been 8 years at Startmate now. I'm 35 years old. Like, am I going to be at Startmate forever? Or like, am I going to try something new?
Yep.
And it's like, no, never a better time to try something new than right now. I came back from Christmas holidays and my wife went back to work and I was there sitting by myself. I had nothing to do. And I was like, well, crap. Like, what do I actually do now?
Well, that's a horrible, I think the last time I sold out of a business, I had 6 months where I couldn't work and it was winter and it was cold and I couldn't go to the beach and I just was like, what am I going to do? It was a horrible feeling. It's a really horrible feeling. You find things pretty quickly, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's the other part of the story. You do find things really quickly. But in the moment though, you're still a bit like, holy crap, like, everybody wants to feel needed and wanted and like feel productive and kind of be part of society. So actually being like almost removed, it was actually a bit of an identity crisis as well. Because like previously my answer for 8 years was like, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm CEO at Startmate. Suddenly I'm just like, well, in a second, I'm not actually a CEO anymore.
Did you say you used to be CEO Startmate?
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's exactly right. Like suddenly your whole sense of identity actually shifts and changes. What people know me for is productivity. And if you think about AI, it's literally just like productivity on steroids. It was like just such a natural extension to what I really care about and do. And that's when I then shot off into like 15,000 different directions. And I gave myself the permission to almost just like explore and go really wide to now hone in on the one or two things that I really want to do. And to be fair, the one or two things are probably 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like more than one or two.
So you can build yourself so many agents. I feel like there's almost like this ratio of like 1 human to agent ratio. And you just almost like do more agents per human.
What do you think it is?
I don't know, like I reckon I'm personally tapping out at like a roughly 50.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 50 is a lot.
I mean, essentially it's 50 employees. That's essentially what it is, right?
But that's crazy. Like, but like maintaining them all and so on. Like, the more you have to like
spinning plates, right? It's the spinning plates theory. You can only spin so many plates before they start to fall off.
With AI, every single piece of software you build is just custom built for your company within a week or two, and it's done.
Wild.
That's actually really interesting. Of like the speed plus the hyper customization, plus couple that with like any industry can get disrupted now by one company, a small company coming along and just like in making the customer experience beautiful because it's again hyper customized to their customers.
Michael, welcome back.
Pumped.
Literally almost to the day, not quite, 1 year on. New improved show, new improved studio, new improved Michael.
Oh, wow.
It's a trifecta.
Perfect.
So I'm not even going to mess around. I've got to ask the first question because I haven't seen you since it happened. It was a shock, I think. It was a shock to me, and I think it was a shock to a few people when you left Startmate because obviously you founded it and it was coming up to 8 years. And I was talking to someone about it prior to you coming in today and saying it was the one sort of really successful program. You know, if you look at some of the others, Atlas still going, but Startmate's always been seen as the gold standard. And then we had Techstars that sort of died and Fishburners has now gone bust. And, you know, they shut the tech center. There was a lot of things going. And then you left Startmate and everyone was like, what? So you never mentioned it either last time we spoke. So last time we spoke, you just told me about Startmate and how wonderful it was and how amazing and all the founder journey. And it was a great episode. But you obviously left, so pretty much end of last year, 6 months ago, right?
That's right, yeah. Christmas.
And you've been done lots of things since then, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
How long had you been thinking about it and not telling me? So how long were you lying to me? But what prompted it? And yeah, talk me through it. I think a lot of people would know because I'm sure you got a lot of phone calls. But for anyone who never heard why, tell us why.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first point is Startmate is still incredible and amazing.
Absolutely.
And honestly, like the thing that I'm most proud of is actually almost the way I've left the company and the team, because the team is unbelievable. To me, the most important thing when I was leaving, and this is probably like the biggest friction point as I was thinking, like, you know, when you leave a job, it's actually quite like, it's
emotional.
a big decision, right?
Yeah.
Even more so if you are the CEO, you've hired a whole team, you've brought founders, like LPs and investors on board, you've invested in 300 companies, people trust you and you've got this massive sense of responsibility. Actually detaching myself from that was pretty difficult of like, what's my responsibility to the team, to investors, to founders versus like, what do I want for my life in the future?
It would have pulled on you. I mean, I've never left a business I've started. I've only ever sold them, which is a bit different. I mean, even that's a very emotional journey. But I imagine, and then typically someone else is coming in to run it and some of the team leaves, some of the team don't, you know, and it's a bit more open. But when you leave, I guess it's probably different.
Thing. Yeah. So massive decision. So the most important thing really was just like setting the team up for success. So like refining the business, making it super profitable, getting the best team in there. And now Phoebe Pinkos is taking it on as a CEO. She's incredible. She's worked there for a couple of years.
It's gone well from what it's gone really well.
Honestly, the best thing I could do is literally set up Startmate for like the next 100 years. And that's what I'm just like so proud to have done. The reason for it, for me on a personal basis, I just asked myself, well, what will I regret having or not having done by the end of my life? And I was like, well, I've been 8 years at Startmate now. I'm 35 years old. Like, am I going to be at Startmate forever? Or like, am I going to try something new?
Yep.
And it's like, no, never a better time to try something new than right now, when you're like young, less commitments than you will ever have in the future. You're always going to have more commitments. And it's really, really uncomfortable. But I literally said to myself, well, I'm still going to have 2 or 3 careers. Might as well.
Might as well do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah. I can understand that. I had someone who's now crept into his 50s. The responsibilities they just keep coming. But then they start to go again.
Yes, I mean, right now I'm with like a 1.5-year-old child and a mortgage, so I guess like that's pretty much as much responsibility as you can get. And then once they move out of home, maybe that's like the better stage.
Well, I mean, I've got a daughter turning 18 this weekend, and I've had a son just turn 16, and they just seem to be more work than they ever were, to be honest. Just different kind of work. So yeah, don't get your hopes up. So, what was the reaction like when you left? Because I know my reaction and the people around me, and I obviously know a lot of people in startup world, but what was the general reaction?
Well, the first one usually was the one of people just associated Batko, my brand, with Startmate so much. And the two actually disentangling them was really like, it was a big shock to lots of people. But I felt like that's such a healthy tension. Like, a company should never just be 100% associated with one person. And I think this is something that we did really well as well, because Startmate's got its own brand and own history and so on. And I almost feel like that's such a healthy thing for me to almost, as a CEO, also didn't go like, am I still the right CEO for this business? Like, what is the future here? It's not just me. It's actually way bigger than me, and detaching. And I think that's the biggest reaction from people, just mentally going like, wait, a single Startmate is not Batko. And that's actually, again, like a really positive thing, because I feel like almost being attached to one person is a limiting factor, if anything.
How's it feel now, 6 months on?
Loving it. I mean, lots and lots of life changes, and I'm so happy I did what I did. And it was a really difficult kind of emotional journey to detach yourself from Startmate, because I put everything into it, and it was like my whole life, and I loved it so much. I still do love it so much, but it's also just so healthy of like just stepping back and revisiting.
Did you have a couple of moments, and I'm sure you did, because I know I've had this when I've sold businesses, which I guess is probably the closest thing, where you regretted it and you went, oh, maybe that was the wrong, it's a bit like buyer's remorse, seller's remorse, whatever you want to call it. You have those moments that, I don't know, one night when you're at home having a coffee or something cool happens or someone calls you and you go, did I do the right thing? Did you have a few of those?
Oh, totally. Like, I think the first one was really the one when I came back from Christmas holidays and my wife went back to work and I was there sitting by myself, I had nothing to do. And I was like, well, crap, like what do I actually do now?
Well, that's a horrible, I think the last time I sold out of a business, I had 6 months where I couldn't work and it was winter and it was cold and I couldn't go to the beach and I just was like, what am I going to do? It was a horrible feeling. It's a really horrible feeling. You find things pretty quickly, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's the other part of the story. You do find things really quickly. But in the moment though, you're still a bit like, holy crap, like everybody wants to feel needed and wanted and like you feel productive and kind of be part of society. So actually being like almost removed. It was actually a bit of an identity crisis as well. Because like previously, my answer for 8 years was like, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm CEO at Startmate. Suddenly I'm just like, well, the second, I'm not actually a CEO anymore.
Did you say you used to be CEO stuff?
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's exactly right. Like suddenly your whole sense of identity actually shifts and changes. And that actually like psychological difference, as well as the sitting at home without a community, without anyone around you, is actually really weird. You should actually a team as well. Like it's really fun to have a team. You
should have come and hang out here.
Yeah, there we go.
But since then, and I was doing a little bit of research on you because we haven't spoken actually because I've been super busy and 6 months isn't very long anyway. You've done loads. Like you've got a lot of little things you kicked off here, there, and everywhere. So, and they've all got this AI bent to them.
Yeah.
Was that an accelerating factor in you leaving, in the fact that obviously, yes, I understand that you get to a point you go, maybe I want to do something else. But where we're at in the last 6 months, but arguably the last 12 months, has been a real tipping point from an AI
massive.
perspective, right? And when I take the time to step back and look at what's happening, I just feel like there's opportunity everywhere, almost an overwhelming amount of opportunity. Was that the sort of accelerator that made you do it, and why you're tipping into a few different things rather than just focusing on one?
Yeah, so like, I mean, firstly, when I did leave Startmate, I had no idea. Like, I literally was just like, I have no clue what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna kept it completely open, and took a month off, just like not even thinking about anything. And then when I started looking into things, it was literally like the 1st of February this year. And then, like you said, AI just got so crazy good. It was literally just around like December, January this year, and suddenly it just shot off. And I was just like incredibly lucky, because one thing that's really close to me and what lots of people know me for is productivity. And if you think about AI, it's literally just like productivity on steroids. So it's like just such a natural extension to what I really care about and do. And that's when I then shot off into like 15,000 different directions. And I gave myself the permission to almost just like explore and go really wide, to now hone in on the 1 or 2 things that I really want to do. And to be fair, the 1 or 2 things are probably 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like more than 1 or 2. Were there any ridiculous? I had a few ridiculous things that I came up with that I'm glad I didn't go ahead with. But I have a ridiculous brain. But did you have any ridiculous ideas?
Oh, I have so many fun ideas.
Tell me the most ridiculous one. Come on, I want to hear.
I don't know about like ridiculous. I don't know, but the one I genuinely think still has legs, and I still don't. I kind of want to do it.
You're doing too many things. Don't do
it. But I tried to pull in a couple of my friends to maybe do it with me.
Come on, what is it?
But I was literally, because I've got a 1.5-year-old, was AI generating kids books, with like rhyming kids books with all of the things, and your child is literally the star of it in every single picture on the page.
That's not a bad idea at all.
And it would be like personalized to your child for your birthday.
Do you think they were going to create even more narcissism than we've already got with that idea?
But it would be such a beautiful birthday present. But maybe, it's like,
all the books Superman. Need to be about me, Dad. I want every book featured. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Honestly, I built it. It was like actually really easy
to do.
Yeah, it's super easy. But go to market's always the hard part.
Yeah, consumer,
and focus.
B2C. Yes, and focus is evidently a problem. All right, so
evidently
you've got. Let's be kind and say you've got 3 or 4 things that you're sort of focusing on, and you've probably got 2 main ones. Pick one. Let's go through them all. I want to hear about all of them. Maybe talk through the ones that you're on the skirts of the outsides, and then we'll get into the meat of the stuff that you're really doing afterwards. So what are the couple of things that you're kind of doing but you shouldn't be doing, because you should be focusing on the other 2?
Okay, well, maybe I'll just tell you about the journey I went through, because that you've got a bit of like an idea of how it ebbs and flows and where it kind of went. On the 1st of February, I was literally like, all right, my wife's at work, back after a year of maternity leave, and I've got nothing to do. So I was like, all right, I was CEO. Let's see if there's any other CEO jobs out there. So I applied for a bunch of things. We had a bunch of interviews, got a bunch of offers, but like nothing really excited me. There was like nothing in there. I was like, all right, I really want to dedicate my next 10 years to it. So then I was like, all right, cool. What do I love doing? I love coaching founders. All right, let's put it out there. Way too many founders approached me to get coached. A couple of VC funds, PE funds approached me. And that's actually still something I do. So I actually do block out my Tuesdays. And I said I'm only going to do Tuesdays.
That's on your website. I've seen that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you're just using your name for that business, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's like Batko.ai. And I essentially coach founders. I get lots and lots of value and enjoyment from it. Which is
what do you coach them on? Are you coaching them on AI adoption, or are you coaching them on whatever they need?
Whatever they need. Like I personally, I'm not that philosophical around like coaching. I'm actually just super practical. Like, hey, what do you actually need help with? Often it's actually literally like go to market or strategy itself, or people just even want the introductions or fundraising introductions and so on. So I'm like super happy to do that as long as I care about the founder, because that'll take everybody on. And then a couple of those coaching engagements just went into bigger things and like bigger engagements. So one of them actually I just announced yesterday, which is me working very closely with the Medical Angels team.
Yeah, I saw that.
So essentially became a venture partner there, really helping them raise the $40 million fund. So that started as like a coaching engagement, but now became something slightly bigger. Not my main thing, but I'm very, I just care about that space so much, medtech, health tech, and the team is just incredible.
It's a really interesting space. We found, and I've just seen this from a recruitment perspective, there's a lot of that in Queensland, more so than any other state. I don't know why. I never understand why these things are in the states, but it does seem to be that's the place for it. Yeah. Are you finding that raising for that space is easier or harder than expected? Because it kind of went through a bit of a boom. Yeah. It's not gone off, but it's not booming as much as everything else is, particularly like AI.
Well, this is honestly the other reason why I just got so excited about Batko, just because number one, the team is awesome, the thesis is great, and like medtech and health tech is something I care about. But from a fundraising perspective, it was crazy. It was like night and day to Startmate.
Yeah.
Startmate was like accelerated over raising a couple $1 million, but every single person is like a founder and expounder. And you're struggling to essentially like upsell people almost from like a 5K commitment to a 25K commitment. Whereas Batko Angels is like most of the backers, not all of the backers are doctors.
Yeah.
Some of the highest paying jobs out there have no time but essentially want to make great investments. And suddenly the check sizes go obviously from like 100K and they go up to $1 million for like personal investors, which in the startup space we would call like family offices or just like massive baggers. But it's just like unbelievable how different it is and how different this community is. It's been really fun actually getting to know doctors, and it's just such a different bubble I've never been in. I love it.
We've got a couple of doctor investors in Pillars, actually. They're very inquisitive. They really want to know everything. And they genuinely, they sit there and they listen intently, and they want to hear everything, intelligent questions. They're quite different. And they have a ridiculous amount of spare cash, that seems.
Well, yeah, but also like no time at all. Like,
no.
It's super busy jobs. And then also, like, who do you trust as a doctor? Literally other doctors.
Yeah.
And this is why this Batko Angel space is actually just like so such an awesome kind of like world. And I just love it as well because like previously I was just so deep into startups and VC. And I actually love getting out of that bubble into other spaces.
Yeah.
I realized how much you actually live in the old tiny little.
It is a bubble. I found that insane with Pillars because, of course, it's not there's not startup founders. And it's opened my eyes again because I was never in the startup space until I started 8 years ago.
Right.
It's a real bubble. Like, it really is quite extreme. And everyone does know each other.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So that's two.
Yes. So coaching was super fun. And then I essentially started going really deep into AI myself because I was like, all right, cool, this is interesting.
And you have time.
I had time. I literally said to myself, I'm only going to work 2 days a week and I'm going to take 3 days a week just to experiment, have fun. Actually, I even spend the whole day with my son on Thursdays because I just take Thursdays completely off just to spend some time whilst he was super young. And I was just building for myself for fun. But of course, the first thing that I'm building is, what do I know well? And who do I know well is founders. So let's build large things for founders. And I just went like crazy into like a full kind of like strategy thing, building this platform with 20 of the different tools and stuff. And just for fun, just for myself. And it's the classic kind of ideas which so many people pitch you, but they never work, which is like review VCs that tell me the rating.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like, why does nobody build it? Well, number one is because, well, if you get a bad review, everybody hates me because it's on my website.
But you can't give a VC a bad review because they'll give you any money, right? The risk factor is way too high.
Yeah. But then on the other side, like the way I did it essentially is like you can essentially submit it anonymously, which is cool because it protects you. You trust me. But that's got to be
so open to...
open to scrutiny. Yeah. And I am the person actually on the hook because then the VCs hit me up and like, hey, can you take this down? I'm like, sorry, I won't, because actually like it's on this a legit kind of review. On the other side, the founder needs to trust me that I will never review the name, which I won't. So it's like, it is a bit
this
of a...
This is a nightmare. You cannot do this. This is terrible. This is such a bad idea.
And it's been actually really good because I did the same thing for lawyers, accountants, like whatever you look for. And it's just anonymous reviews, or you can put your name on it as well. But why does nobody do it? Because you can't make any money in it. But I didn't need to make any money in it. I just did it for fun to like learn AI. And so that worked really well. And then I launched a bunch of other tools. Like, for example, I literally downloaded my entire brain into something that we call like a Batko AI brain. I've like got all of my content I've ever produced. And now you upload your pitch deck and it gives you like the full slide by slide kind of like breakdown, hardcore, just like this is wrong, this is wrong, this is right. And the kind of stuff the VCs just never tell you. And like, it just breaks down the whole thing. But I just did that for fun, launched it within like a week or two. It's still live now, 4 months later. And literally like people are paying for it every single week, which has actually been a fun kind of product experience for me.
Yeah.
It's not making a huge money, but like, it's actually like super fun having it out there.
I think as long as you keep the content up and you keep doing it, people will pay for things. It's never going to retire you, but why not?
No, it's like,
honestly, you're still adding value.
Yeah. And to me, honestly, like the real reason I did it was just to learn AI.
Yeah.
And that was really fun.
What are you using? Are you using Claude for everything, or are you playing with all of them? Or
I tried all of them at the beginning, but then I just landed on Claude and just stayed on it. But people ask me all the time, I'm like, what should I use? My advice, number one advice is just like use one thing and do it well, and just don't care. Like the
I tried
models
them all.
kind of
They're all similar. I don't know. I found Claude. This is the strangest thing to say. The most relatable.
okay.
Which is really interesting. I think because I did my whole digital brain thing, put it all. I spent a lot of time, like you.
Yeah.
I spent quite a bit of time just really, and about the same time, February, March time, throwing myself into it and really watching all the videos I could. Every night I was on YouTube just watching and trying to work out things, and then started playing with all of them, and played with Grok, and I played with literally all of them. And I don't know, I just found Claude to be the one that there's most. But it's a worryingly addictive thing to do. To start playing.
It's like a computer game.
It is.
Or like a slot machine at a casino where you just like approve.
Yeah, you just can't stop. You're like, oh, what about this? Oh, what? But my brain, like yours, goes all over the place. So it's just like going, anyway.
Yeah.
So
the possibilities are just incredible.
Yeah, you can't. You have to actually remove yourself to get any work done. I have to, otherwise I just lose track of time.
Yes, totally.
So where are you now? So those are the things that you've been doing for fun.
So
What's the serious thing?
Yeah, so that was super fun, and I just like explored it. And then because I then started live sharing, I literally just started screen sharing on LinkedIn Live of like, hey, this is how I'm building things, and like hundreds of people joined those like live streams
really?
Just for fun. Like, and it's crazy. Like, it's like a Twitch essentially. Like, you
I
watch somebody
suppose
else build. Yeah, and it's kind of cool because with AI, the crazy part here is like I can give you an idea, and you're gonna like it, and 5 minutes later you had your laptop and just build it yourself. I don't need to actually really onboard you or anything like that. You've got an idea, just do it. So it was like people joined it for inspiration, like because that's all you really need. So then people started approaching me, being like, "Hey, can you like build AI for me?" And before I knew it, so this is a longer story I can expand on as well. I met my co-founder. We started a business called Hourglass AI, and what we do now is get into a business and build AI for them.
So I was reading a little. I didn't have enough time to read it because I was on a call, but I was reading about that. So talk to me about that, because I was trying to work out whether you're helping them adopt their own or build their own and consulting to them, or whether you're physically building the products for them, or you're doing both, or how to give me a bit more context.
Yeah, for sure. So like the easiest way to explain it is actually practically, what do I do? You have a business, you essentially are told by your board or a CEO often, be like, hey, we need to do AI. Yeah. But nobody knows like ROI.
What does that mean?
Like exactly. Yeah. So the easiest thing I do is actually go in to businesses, usually traditional businesses actually. Like we're working with a meat processor and a cement business, and like and VCs as well. And
a meat processor.
It's fascinating.
I did not expect you to say that.
It's amazing because like every single one of them is so different. We literally work with a company which is like essentially mining forests underwater, and it's like it's
what?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. But the cool thing is like it's essentially out of the startup industry. It's actually real established businesses.
How do they mine a forest, and what forests are underwater? Are we talking like kelp forests, or what are we talking about?
I still need to look at that one actually.
I don't understand. I want to know more about that. Yeah. We'll do a whole episode on that because I think that's going to be interesting. Okay, so I mean, when you're talking about companies like that, like meat processing and cement, what are they looking at AI for? Is it? I'm intrigued. What are they coming to you, because they must have an idea?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like most of them actually don't really have an idea. Most of them literally come to me but like, hey, everybody's talking to AI about AI, my board's essentially pressure me on AI, but I'm not going to throw a bunch of money at something where I don't know what the output actually is. So the first step is actually really simple. We come in and do an AI audit. I essentially interview the team. There's 5 to 10 people which we usually interview, and we do 30 to 60-minute chats where you tell me about all your problems. You literally unload on me being like, tell me all your problems.
Become a psychologist.
Like, wasting all my time and admin, and like I wish this existed and this could make my life so much better. And what we do then are 5 or 10 interviews. You literally get a roadmap of like, those are the 10 to 30 things that we can do with AI. And you just get that roadmap, and the CEO then gets to decide, all right, cool. Like we're going to make this company AI native. So like, let's do that. And what we then do is then come in, build it for you and upgrade your team. And then you can build anything on top of it as well.
So are you building that yourselves? You've got a team? Are you offshoring? Are you using agents? How are you doing it?
Yeah, well, that's kind of an interesting one, right? Because I started the company being like, all right, we're 2 co-founders. We're never going to hire anybody because we can do it all ourselves. But $1 billion
per company.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone else beat you, but yeah.
They have. But what you realize pretty quickly though is like, even though you can build yourself so many agents, I feel like there's almost like this ratio of like 1 human to agent ratio, and you just almost almost like the more agents push
What do you
in-
think it is?
I don't know. Like I reckon I'm personally tapping out at like a roughly 50.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 50 is a lot.
I mean,
yeah.
essentially, it's 50 employees. That's essentially what it is, right?
But that's
I mean,
crazy. Like, and then, but like maintaining them all and so on. Like, the more you have to then
spinning
fix them
plates,
up and
right?
stuff.
It's the spinning plates theory. You can only spin so many plates before they start to fall off. You can only manage. I mean, so give me an example. If you're managing 50 agents, how many hours a week would that be for you?
Well, that's kind of like the point of you almost want to get to a number of agents where you don't need to do almost any management time. And if you go above that, then you spend all this time just fixing things. So with 50 agents, probably like 2 or 3 hours a week. Like I actually don't really have to fix them up.
And you're not going to build an agent to manage those 50 agents?
Well, they do have all self-learning loops and self-fixing loops and stuff now in there as well. Yeah, so that's kind of like the beauty of when you don't have to manage them all yourself.
For anyone who's watching, just who doesn't understand that concept, because I'm just thinking about that. You know, they're thinking, what has he got 50 robots sitting there working? Explain to me, when you build an agent or when you create an agent, where does it sit? How does it work? Just give us the real raw basics for anyone who just might not know. I think people will either know it completely or they won't know at all. But make it super simple for someone who might not know it all.
Honestly, the simplest possible way to break it down is what AI is really bad at reading lots of documents, for example. Like it's really bad at reading PDFs, etc., etc. The simplest possible thing you can give AI is just pure text. It's something that where people keep calling MD files or Markdown files. And it's the simplest possible literally text file on your computer. It's just there's text.
So you're saying they're bad at reading it like a PDF or a Word document?
Terrible, because they actually look at it as a picture. So they almost need to look at each pixel. Like PDFs are actually notoriously bad for AI to read. And the best thing you can do is literally just translate it into characters, like literally a text file on your computer.
I didn't know that. I actually
crazy.
did not know that.
And then when you actually look at your computer, because you probably have a bunch of agents, you can literally open those text files. And the surprising thing is that it will not be code. It will not be Chinese. It literally will be just prose written there for you. You can almost read your agents the way you'd read them in English because you've probably spoken to them. And the cool thing is you can literally just open up. They're really nicely structured as well. And yeah, it's a text file essentially describing this is what the agent should do. And the only other thing is you just need to trigger it. So like it gets triggered, reads the text file, does what it says, and then creates you the output.
Yeah.
That's the simplest possible way.
And then when you're training them, I was having a conversation yesterday about this. They were trying to train, we were going to launch an AI in an app, but the AI was being rude. And it wasn't being rude, but it wasn't being polite. It wasn't interacting. It was almost too robotic. It's like talking to someone who was about as German as they could be, right? It was so robotic. And we were trying to train it to be more personable and more chatty. And I just find that part of the whole building the agent thing fascinating, how you train them. That's just such a crazy concept to me.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, with agents itself, it can be as simple as giving that all the way at the top an instruction of like, I want you to have this personality.
Yes.
So for example, what we have is the company is called Hourglass AI, and we have a little Slack bot called Glassy. And Glassy is just this thing that you can tag anytime, or it sees what you're writing and just like inserts itself into the chat. And we gave it a bit of a personality to essentially be a bit cheeky, but also like actually like just write things concisely, etc. And yeah, so personality, you can put it into an agent like that all the way at the top without necessarily training it.
Yeah.
You actually can.
I'm trying to train mine better in that. I sat down with it and I said, I need you to, because I go off on random tangents and waste a lot of time, right? So I was teaching it that if I ask it anything, it needs to ask me, is this actually going towards helping me achieve the goals I'm trying to achieve at the moment? I want it to question me. I want it to really push on me. I don't want it to ever compliment me because I hate that. I just find it so false. Anyways, we've been building this for a while. But now it's got to a point where I'm having to go the other way because I'll literally jump on there and I'll ask it a really simple question because I need an answer. And I'll just say, hey, who did this? Because I want it. And it'll go, Steve, is this really helping you achieve the goals in your life? And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to talk about that now. I'm at dinner with someone and I just want to know the answer to this question. So it's funny. You've got to have these different personas as well. It's like an obedient friend.
Yeah. And you can build yourself kind of like, all of those different types of friends doing different things as well. Yeah. Because you almost want to split it because the agents then also have access to different types of memories, different type of context and so on. Because you almost don't want every agent to have context on everything either.
No. Yeah. So how's it going?
Yeah, really well. So, so at Hourglass, like, as I mentioned, we come into the business, we interview the team, we give you a roadmap, you tell us where to start, and then essentially we build it for you. the simplest thing that we essentially usually do is we build the foundation, which is this AI brain for the company. So make your whole company data accessible. The second thing we do is build the infrastructure of like, what's the stuff that actually every single person in the organization wants to use? For example, all your emails pre-drafted, and like for every single person in the organization based on their voice. And then, for example, a Slack bot that the whole company can use. And then we can educate your team or build the agents on top. But, sorry.
No, go.
But back to your question of like, how's it going? Really well. It's super fun because like essentially the funnest part about it is all the different types of industries that we work with. Like as I mentioned, we work with cement, meat processor, but also recruiters, VCs, a couple of startups, financial services, accounting as well. So like the coolest thing for me actually is our customer base is really varied. But then from a product perspective, it's fascinating because everybody's kind of asking us for very similar things. And I get to almost learn from all those industries, the best practices, and bring them together. Well,
you get that in recruitment. Like you work with so many different companies. That's what I've always liked about recruitment. So I guess the next question that would be the obvious one from my perspective is it's fantastic to work with a cement, meat processor, recruiters, lawyers. How do you go in getting them to adopt it? Because you may well have a CEO and a board who want it, but then you've got a whole bunch of people who don't want their emails pre-drafted because they don't trust it. And there's every person has a different view, and usually quite a strong one, on AI and how much they trust it, don't trust it, want to adopt it, don't want to adopt it.
Yeah.
So the change management piece, do you do that, or do you just go, no, that's your problem? Because that, I imagine, is a far greater challenge.
Super hard. And honestly, that's actually so much harder than the technical change of it. I mean, the first thing we do is, and this is always a part of the conversation of before we even go into an audit, the CEO usually tells me of just like, well, how do I tell my team that you're coming in and just like asking them about all the things that they do because they're going to think that we're going to take the jobs away. Yeah,
well, they would.
Literally, the first thing I tell him or her is just like, we're going to give you the language to essentially send around to your team, which is very simple language around like, this is here to take away all the grunt work and make you spend time on the stuff that is exciting, that's better, that's higher value, etc. So like that's the first thing. And to be fair, like obviously the CEO needs to be actually aligned with that as well. It's not about cutting jobs. It's actually about getting a whole organization to be more.
Do you have a resistance? Like if you think about, I think about when I've sold my businesses, the new owners was coming and said nothing's going to change, and everyone knows that's not true. Do you have a little bit of that going on with people, or do you find that generally? I would think now it's become a little bit more acceptable because everybody is using some form of LLM in their life. Like literally nearly everybody is on their phone in some way. Whereas a year ago, everyone would have been like, no, they're going to take our jobs. Do you think that there's been an actual shift where people do see it helping them as opposed to replacing them?
Definitely, as in like definitely, as you said, like 12 months ago to now, like that has shifted. Also, businesses that approach us are ready to go AI native, so they usually have some kind of like already like they've experimented with it. So there's also like almost like a selection bias in that as well. And plus the third thing is because we come in and do an audit and sit with your team to actually understand their workflows, we actually co-design those things with them as well, which helps with the whole change management piece. Okay. Plus the other part is I actually don't want to be building like the core of your business with AI. That's actually something that I truly believe each company should build themselves, which is when we then actually educate the team how to use AI well themselves. And what's the best thing an employee can do is if their employer cares about them actually using AI well, because whether you stay there or not, you're going to be the most employable person off the back of it.
Well, that's where I was going next. You know, how, and this is more of an opinion as opposed to that business. And I think that's great. And you look like you're really enjoying it. So it looks like you got your identity back, which is good. For people out there who are employees in jobs, right, and maybe don't understand it as much as perhaps others, what do you think people should be doing? You know, there is still a worry that people, I don't think it's as much as it was. I think the disaster scenes have gone a little bit. I'm sure they'll come back. But right now there seems to be, you know, everyone's more about Trump than they are about AI. But what do you think people should be doing? Because like you just said, they could become the most useful, the most employable person by adopting it more as opposed to replacing themselves. Do you think that's true? Do you think everybody should be looking at the world that way?
100%. Yeah. It's like the thing is, you can actually look at the world as like at change, and you can argue whether the change is good or bad, whether it's going to happen or not. But you can look at the world in inevitables. Like what is something that it will just never go away, that is just like 100% always going to continue that trend. And there's a bunch of things in life where you can almost like point at that being like, well, whatever I do, it will always happen that way. And one thing inevitable essentially is just the one of like, well, AI isn't going anywhere. If anything, it would only ever get better. If anything, it will only ever be more useful to your job. So you might as well get on the bandwagon.
Yep.
And if you do, you can literally become the most employable person out there, whether it's for your current company or anywhere else. And that's almost like that's obviously the positive way of looking at it all.
Yeah.
But like, is that change inevitable? And it's like with that one, you almost kind of argue with me of like, yeah, it will essentially keep getting better. Sure, like a country can block a fable for a couple of weeks or whatnot and release, but like, sure, you can open source a model. They're not going anywhere. Yeah.
So do you think, I mean, obviously there are people that like to look at things positively and there are people that like to look at things, let's just say pessimistically. It's the same argument. So if you are a positive person, you could make yourself the most valuable. If you're a negative person, you will stop yourself becoming the least valuable, I guess. You know, you can look at it either way, but I think you're right. I want to talk about your views on AI just generally. So it's moving fast. It's, you know, it's becoming normalized a bit like everything does. You know, there was headlines every day, a bit like Trump got normalized, right? And you know, everyone's panicking and there's all these things and you're seeing all the leaders of these AI businesses up on the screen every day. And then they sort of peter off a bit and then there'll be announcements here and there. Last time I really spent some time on it, I was spending a night watching ones that said they were going to kill us all. I spent a night watching the ones that said we were all going to have the best life in our lives, and the others that were independent to try and get a sort of... I couldn't sleep after the one that said they're going to kill us all, by the way. But where do you think it's going to go? Do you think this self-awareness is going to happen? Do you think it's going to... I mean, they're saying within 2 years. I mean, you know, generally that seems to be the overall... There are some people saying 3 weeks, some people saying 8 years. But what do you think that looks like when that happens? It's such an, and I know you don't know, and I'm not expecting you to be an expert. Nobody has a clue. I'm just, because you're so engrossed in the world, I'm just intrigued to see what your thoughts are on it. This is purely an opinion, everyone. Don't take this as gospel.
I've got no idea. But I mean, the practical answer to the question is like AI will just keep getting better. So it's like if you're struggling with it right now to do something, like sure, like imagine compare it now versus 12 months ago. Like back then, you literally were just like struggling to get like text into a picture kind of thing, whereas now it's just like completely gone off. So that's the kind of exciting part of it, of just like it will only ever keep getting better. If it actually gets into like true kind of like artificial intelligence and just like self-awareness, I do think from what I kind of been reading and hearing, there's almost like another technological step change necessary for that. That being said, do we need that or like in order to have this massive change in the world? Not really, because if you increase the context and the memory window so much that it actually has so much awareness of your life, for example, AI can actually do so many things instead of you, for you, etc. So it's almost like whether or not we get to full kind of like self-awareness.
Who knows
like,
if that's even possible?
You can actually do so much, It's so much already, and like the leverage you can get from that is unreal.
I think, obviously where we're at is a big step change, not unlike internet coming in and so forth, right? But that's, you know, again, look at 5G. 5G changed what you could do on mobile as well. That was a step change. I think the next step change we'll see will be the robots. Yeah, I think when they start to come in and do things within our lives and they become that good, that will be fundamentally life-changing for every single person on the planet. That's
going to be actually really interesting. Like, I think I saw today actually the first video on Twitter of like them selling robots with AI essentially into it and like tidying up your home and stuff. But that's also an inevitable, because it's like you essentially put in software on the hardware. The software is already there. The hardware itself, that's actually right now still the thing, not progressing as fast because it's expensive and stuff. But hardware is like hardware prototyping with 3D printers, with like actual, like again, AI in terms of like just the iterations you can do. It's just so much easier than it used to be. It's just a matter of time for like robots to actually be.
I mean, I think everyone believes in the robots, whereas if you go back to what mobiles could do now, people wouldn't have believed that. So I think robots are actually a small step, but I think they'll have the biggest impact on our lives.
It's going to be really interesting to see what they all look like and how they integrate back into our lives.
I know if you're a designer out there, this could be your time. The amount of opportunity to design robots is just mind-blowing. Like if you're a creative person, my daughter wants to be a surgeon, and I said, start looking into robots, because the chances are, you'll be around, but the robots will probably be doing the actual work. You might be controlling them somehow, I don't know, but it's going to be so interesting. Every aspect of life, I think.
Yeah. It's got, like, there's a bunch of still hard challenges to solve there with robots, because we invested in a bunch of startups in that space, and the thing that people don't appreciate is actually, for example, the crazy feedback effect you need if you pick something up like that. because you just closing your fingers
Without crushing it.
Without crushing it to actually have enough friction to essentially like lift something off the ground and stuff is actually quite hard because every single millisecond you need that feedback about is it holding it, not like how do you go up and down, and that in itself is actually, even that is quite like hard to solve.
Yeah, winning a game of chess, that's nothing. Picking up a can, that's much more complicated.
Much harder.
Which you wouldn't think so, but it is, right? Yeah. Is there anything else that you see coming that you think is without question going to happen in the next, I don't know, let's say 12 to 18 months, which is quite a long time?
Yeah. What do I see coming?
Other than the model's obviously getting better, that's going to continue. But
well, the interesting one really is just the one of it. Right now is almost like time for businesses to just completely crush a market in a way. And it will be the businesses adopting AI first. Like in every single industry, it doesn't matter how far along or behind they are, there's always a couple of businesses which are fully going into AI and embracing it.
Yep.
And I would bet on them any day of the week that are going to crush the competition, in particular incumbents, massive companies which can't move as fast. Behavioral change is really difficult. So
levels the playing field, right? Levels the playing field.
It's crazy.
But that's exactly what the internet did, right?
Yes.
It took away distribution costs,
massive,
which was so expensive.
I mean, the thing with AI, so maybe just to give you like a core insight here is like, the thing that lots of people talk about is always the whole idea of like speed, like I can build something so much faster than I ever could. But there's actually an additional aspect here with AI, which is the ability to hyper customize. Previously, software you were building like took you forever to build. So no company really built anything custom for themselves because they had to maintain it themselves. Took them 12 months to build, to implement. With AI, every single piece of software you build is just custom built for your company within a week or two, and it's done.
Wild.
That's actually really interesting. Of like the speed plus the hyper customization, plus couple that with like any industry can get disrupted now by one company, a small company coming along and just like in making the customer experience beautiful because it's again hyper customized to their customers. And that mix is just like unreal from a disruption perspective.
I was in an event last night, and it's for a group called XA Network, which is a group of investors. And Mike Langford was up there giving us some stats, as he loves to. And he said that right now, and these stats were already not current because they're 3 months old, you know, around the valuations of the companies, which are going through the roof, which is insanity. But $4.2 trillion of dry powder, i.e. money to be invested, is sitting around. Predicted 85% of it into AI businesses. That's insane. Where does that leave? And this is more a question for you just on your general expertise of one, having run Startmate and seen that, and two, now being in AI. Where does that leave a business like Posca, right? Posca is a drink that we always drink on this show. They're a new brand. They're a challenger brand. They're growing. They're still raising money to grow and go out. Or where does it take a company like Pillars, where we've raised money to start a second location, or more traditional businesses that still want to raise money? When you've got such a huge amount of money going into this one sector, doesn't leave a lot for the rest of the. What does that mean? That innovation falls off the planet in the physical world? Do you think?
Not at all. No. I mean, number one, like when we talk about investing into AI companies, it's the same thing as like 90% of money goes into investing into software companies. Like software is just like this term that you know use, but like everything is software. So it's the same now. Like every single company is building with AI. So it's almost like this catch-all phrase for everything. And to your question of like hardware products or direct-to-consumer products, etc., that's actually almost like that's actually almost the edge for lots of investors right now, because there's this beautiful kind of like diagram, which is like if you get it right and everybody get it right, you get small returns. Stuff like that. If you get it right and everybody thought it was a different thing, which is like you go against the grain essentially, which is, for example, with direct to consumer hardware, that's where you make a lot of money. And that's exactly that, being actually contrarian right now, but in general, like it's always been the best investor.
Don't follow
thesis.
the pack, right?
Don't follow
the other way.
Because why is it a problem? Like with AI companies, back to your point with the event, it's like, sure, you can get it right, but you're buying it at crazy high valuations. So your returns actually will be small. Like whereas you can buy, sadly, at companies like that with much lower valuations, but the returns are so much bigger. So it's actually, that's the time to be courageous, to invest in the antithesis in a way.
Great answer. Great answer.
Honestly, but that's actually way easier said than done.
Absolutely, because there's plenty that won't work. Well, that's any investment. Look, I'm so glad you came in. You look like you really are enthused. Are you feeling complete again?
Honestly, I'm loving it. Like the most beautiful thing about my life right now is just the freedom to be able to do whatever I want. And with Hourglass AI, I just literally get to walk into so many businesses, learn all about them, get paid to learn all about them, and just like help them get better.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I get to spend my time helping founders, working with a bunch of VC funds, and also get to spend lots of time with my family, which is actually really nice. So
Amazing.
I'm in a very good spot.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming back. Maybe we'll get you back in a year. Well, you know what? We try to get people back. Well, we've obviously done a little change on the show a little bit, but we were getting people back every 2 years, which is quite interesting. Obviously, we've only been a year for you, but I mean, lots happened in that year. I can only imagine with what you're doing now what's going to happen in the next year. So maybe you'll come back next year. We'll see. But thank you so much for coming on. And it's good to see you reborn into a new world, but still having the old world sitting there as well. I think that as a legacy, and I think that's amazing. And you've done amazingly well to do that.
Thank you so much.